Do you need self-improvement? Now, recently there's been a surge in guys wanting to go to the gym, guys wanting to start online businesses, guys starting to escape the matrix. Why are they doing that? What is the purpose of trying to do these things which the majority of people still admittedly aren't doing? What is the purpose of going out there and getting a good body, getting good girls, getting good money, making a bank? What is the purpose? Now, typically when we talk about self-improvement, we look at these things like getting better at talking to girls or building a body. And what these things eventually build up to is what a lot of people like to call a high value man. But what is a high value man? And I feel like people don't talk about this much. I feel like being the society that we live in, the capitalist, and you may not like me describing this way, but a patriarchal capitalist society. The society that we live in, we reward those who make money, those who are at a higher social status. We tend to value them more, and our means of having value over the heads of someone is pretty much looking at their net worth, the work that they do, the house that they live in, the car they drive. I have seen this with people in my own family. They've built something different in their lives. They've built themselves up and they've become high value men, as we like to call them. And all of a sudden they are looked at differently. My dad is my dad is, not was, he's still alive, he's in the other room, he's asleep by now. But he is a man that I have the utmost respect for, and that is because he started off being shut down by his entire family. Everyone thought he was going to flop. Everyone thought he was going to be someone who really wouldn't accomplish anything in life. And that's what it seemed like for his first 10, 11, 12 years in school. There was a time where something in my dad clicked and he started to work his ass off. And I'm not going to go into too much detail, but there were ups and downs. And he hit this point where he was just constantly working, and he got pretty good at it. And then one of the things that happens when you have such a steep incline is that you don't tend to evolve the things around you. And the things around you, which I'm going to get to in a bit, they really make a difference. They make a difference when you want to go. And obviously I'm a teenager. I don't know much about the world, so I don't expect anyone to take my words seriously. But from what I've heard and what I've seen, you need to really just learn how to work to get to the top 20-25%, and then to get further, get higher into the top 5-10%. The things that are around you really come into play more. Things that are separate from working your ass off, that are separate from doing a good job in your 9 to 5. Things that involve your physical and mental health. Things that involve how mindful you are, how gratuitous you are, how much of a family you have around you. And this is what kind of brought my father down a level. And he was earning a lot of money somewhere around the start of his career, and he was doing quite well. And then he hit this point where it started to decline because he made a mistake in his career, and that mistake was because of his low tempo. This was a skill that he hadn't took the time out to fix. Now you can be the hardest working 9 to 5 guy in the whole company, but if you do get to a point which is quite high and then you lose your shit over something that's quite small, you get brought down a level. People lose their respect for you. And what my dad did, I don't remember if he said that he got fired or he quit, but either way, his next job after he left that company was slightly lower. And it stayed that way, it kind of plateaued. Because he didn't even consider those anger issues that he had until 7 or 8 years later, as far as I can remember. And it was a problem for him. He just plateaued. He got to a certain point and he kind of plateaued. And then there was this point where there was a huge family tragedy where my mom passed away. And after that, he kind of realized that there's a lot more things to do in life. There's a lot more things that he needs to figure out. And I think that was the turning point for my father. And he learned a lot. He learned the importance of family, of having a mother figure for his children. He learned that he had to improve his soft skills. He might have not started going to the gym or anything at that point. He has started to work out now, but it took him time. And he quit the job he was in and he started a business. And when he started this business, after a few years, after like 3 or 4 years, it really took off. And that's how I'm in the position I'm in right now. This incredible position where I can have an iPhone recording me. I can be sitting in this really nice room, which I really, really like. And just have a really privileged life. And this is something that I feel like is going to be a trend. You're going to start seeing this a lot more. Now, going back to our main point, do you need self-improvement? Do you need to start working out? Do you need to start finding a purpose? Do you need to start an online business? Do you need to start getting good at talking to girls? The answer is yes, but at the same time, I think it's no, because I don't think you need to work on all of these things simultaneously. I think there's only one thing that you need to figure out in your entire life, and that is your purpose. What is your purpose in life? What is the one thing that you are going to devote your entire life to? And I feel like once you kind of have that figured out and you're making these incremental goals to improve in that one thing until a certain point where you have to retire and you kind of move to the farms or you go commit ego death or something like that. Until you get to that point, you realize that having to reach higher and higher, you have, and one of my favorite self-improvement YouTubers, Hamza, says this a lot. You kind of realize that sacrifice has to be progressively overloaded. If you want to be a software engineer and sit and make good money from your 9 to 5, but you kind of reach a point and you kind of plateau. Like, sure, you can get promoted through the company and whatnot, but the odds of that happening are very low. And typically, the promotion that does happens to those who tend to have these better soft skills. And where do these soft skills come from? They come from things like mindfulness. They come from things like working out, because you have better mental and physical health. And you'll notice this, like how many CEOs do you know of massive companies that aren't fit, that don't take care of their mental and physical health? If you consider a lot of success stories, and I could refer to this in sport. I think sport is a really good example. These guys will have this steep incline that I talk about, the super steep incline. they'll be dogged as, footballers, young footballers at the age of 18, 19, 20. They'll be dogged as, the next Ronaldo, the next Messi, the next Ronaldinho, Zidane, whatever it is. And then you'll see they start to party a lot. They've started to get on social media a lot. They've gone up this steep incline so fast that they've not adjusted their surroundings. They've not adjusted their mental health. They've not adjusted their priorities to continue going up, and they kind of start to plateau by the time they reach 21 or 22. And then it hits a certain point. If you're someone like a Mason Greenwood, if you don't know, he actually, let me just check if this is recording or not, because I remember last time it wasn't recording. Yeah, sorry. If you are a Mason Greenwood, you let go of things so far to the point, you become so detached from reality that you start doing the wrong things. You start abusing women. You start being a rapist. Like it's really messed up what these things can do to you. How much your ego can inflate you, and it's dangerous. And I feel like the right way to do things is to really just find your purpose in life, whether that's in your career or creatively or whatever it is. You find your purpose and you start to build the things around you automatically. You start to work on your career. Say you're working 12 hours a day on this one project, on this one entrepreneurship gig. You've worked 12 hours a day for a year straight. You might be burnt out at the end, but you've done a good job. You've brought your company to a pretty substantial level. But then you realize working 12 hours a day on my own, it can't work for me. And you start to notice and you start to realize that I need to sacrifice in this. You kind of realize that I need to optimize what I'm working on. And that comes in the form of maybe hiring new employees, and that sacrifice is letting go of the control. Obviously it's seen as it's very obviously a better thing, but if you've ever worked in a group scenario and you've ever been passionate about a project that multiple people are working on, including yourself, then you know what it's like to really be passionate about something and having to let go of that control. So I definitely see that as a sacrifice. What else is a sacrifice is letting go of the time you waste, the time you spend on your phone, the time that you could be spending working out. And this sacrifice, it takes you up another level. And you slowly start to realize, okay, these sacrifices I'm making, they're better for my company, they're better for my purpose. And you keep leveling up. And you keep making these sacrifices until it's so optimized that you can't get to a better level. And this usually, it does not take 5 or 6 years, it does not take 10 to 15 years. It very rarely does go up that fast. And it usually takes, like, actually fulfilling your purpose. You really truly fulfill it when you're at that retirement age. And then at that point you can consider laying back off and kind of resting. And I mean, you can still rest while you're working if things are so well optimized. If you look at some of the richest people in the world, they're super old. They're in like their 70s, 80s. Elon Musk himself is, I think he's in his mid 50s, which is, he doesn't look like he's in his mid 50s. Like I always thought he was like in his 40s, like early 40s or something. But I don't see Elon Musk kind of settling down in the next 10 or 15 years. So I'm gonna assume that if you have things streamlined to a really good level, if you have things really optimized, then you can work till whatever age, right? And so yeah, taking the example of Elon Musk, actually, he lost like 20 pounds or something in 6 months, and he was taking certain supplements, weight loss supplements. It was like an injection called Wegovy or something like that, and he was taking it. But regardless, he does see the value in losing all of that, all those 20 pounds of fat, and becoming a healthier person. So ultimately, I think that there's so many things to life, but if you really just focus in on your one goal, if you focus in on your purpose, things that come around, you realize that you need a family, you realize that you need love in life, you realize that you need this sense of companionship, you automatically start, once you are starting to fulfill your purpose, you start seeing that there's these other things that I can start to streamline, and that's when you go out, and that's when you start to get better at talking to people. And when you get better at talking to people, you get better at talking to girls. And I am someone who's actively trying to work on everything right now, and I feel like that's the best way to do it. If especially you're in a position like I am, where I have a lot of time to myself, and I can be spending that time doing a lot of productive things. Do I consider talking to a camera productive or not? I don't know, but things like physical activity, I try my best to get one form of physical activity done every day. I try my best to go out and talk to people. I'd say I'm all right at talking to girls. I think once you really have that purpose in life and you start working towards it, you automatically start getting off your phone. You automatically start to tone down on the video games. You automatically start looking out for your body. And I'm starting to sound like a broken record saying this over and over again. But I ultimately think that your one purpose is what will get you far in life. One example that I thought of earlier today was how these dating coaches, like these super red pill guys who try and give dating advice, they'll say stuff like, oh, you want to make her want you, you wanna text back. If she takes three hours to text, you take 8 hours or some shit like that. That will come naturally. You won't have the time to respond to a girl immediately if you are on your purpose. If you're studying for a degree consistently and you're working on your body and you're spending good positive time with your friends and you're meditating and journaling, how much time do you have in a day to reply to a girl on text? Not much. So I feel like there's a lot of things that you can relate to this. There's a lot of things that you can connect to having a purpose in life and how it helps you upgrade all the things around you. Because this is one thing. So you have your main purpose, right? But then after that you have things like fitness and getting social and stuff like that, and your family. And I feel like those also have things that surround them. So for example, I really want to have a really good physique. And once I start kind of just, going to the gym and just doing whatever, just doing like 15 bicep curls and then walking off, it took me about a year to kind of go like, you know what? I am starting to get the hang of this. Let me kind of do some research. I'm starting to see like a slightly bigger bicep. Let me start doing research on what other exercises I can do to make this grow better. And you start learning that you don't just grow your biceps, you grow your whole body. And you start to kind of optimize in those areas. And then you start to learn that there's different splits for all these, to train your whole body. And you start learning about the push-pull legs routine. And now you start doing the push-pull legs routine and wow, I'm actually making good progress. And then you notice, well, could I speed up this process? And then you go and research on protein and calorie surplus and deficit. And surplus, when you talk about surplus, it's about building muscle and protein and stuff. And then you kind of realize, well, I've gotten pretty big, but I want to get shredded. I want to have a really good physique. And you start learning about cutting and calorie deficits and how to build muscle while cutting. And you start to go and you start to branch out in these different directions and you start to level up on every individual thing. The only sacrifice in this is the time that you are wasting on your phone, on unnecessary tasks, on unnecessary social obligations, people that add no value to you. And I feel like that's so powerful. And that one thing, it just comes from setting your goals, from finding a purpose in life. And this is everything that I've said so far in this video. It's from what I've heard, from what I've observed, what I've seen, and what the experiences are of so many people. And I'm super young and I have a lot to learn. But I really feel like it's just a really good thing if I just focus on my goals, on my purpose, and I'll automatically become a higher value person, because our existence as humans has a purpose. There is a meaning, and I believe that that meaning is in some form to create. I believe that the purpose of your entire existence is in some form to be a creative person, because we were not blessed with these minds, with these incredibly powerful structures of muscle tissue and all these nerves and neurons for no reason. Every body part, every animal's feature has a purpose for it to survive. And our purpose for our mind, for how powerful our minds are, to survive is to create, and it's to add, and it's to create in order to add value to society. And creativity isn't just art. It's not just painting. It's not just drawing. It's not just making music. It's so much more. It is enterprise. It is capitalism. It is engineering. It is architecture. It is all of these beautiful things. Just simply the act of me talking to this camera right now is creating. And that is so profound. That is actually so profound. And I found so much comfort in my own thoughts as I've learned this. And yeah, I think that's a good note to end this on. And thank you if you've watched till the end. And yeah, good luck on whatever purpose you all are trying to fulfill. I should have a outro for these. I don't know. I will soon though. Thank you for watching.